May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. In today's story from Genesis, Jacob is at a place between places, much like us. Jacob has left Beersheba, the home of his father, and he's heading towards Haran and the home of his future father-in-law, two significant places in the biblical story. And on the way, he stops for the night, which means that right now he is nowhere special. He's at a place that has no name, a place on the way to somewhere else, a place between places, like us. What is the place you are in right now? Your home, I would assume, unless you are currently applying one of the big four, the reasons for leaving. What sort of a place for you is your home, your shelter from the pandemic right now? Is it familiar, perhaps too familiar? Is it comfortable, constricting, spacious, crowded, secure, lonely? What spiritual place has the physical reality of lockdown brought you to? And to what extent is it like the place Jacob finds himself in today? A place between places. Life as we knew it is a long way behind us, and life as it will be post-pandemic, what even is that place? I find it hard to imagine, but my sense is that it will be a different place to where we have been before, that here, now, in between what was and what will be, our world is being reshaped. Where are we headed? What will the place of the future be? What do we want it to be? And what might we do here, now, in the in-between to help in its shaping? What is the promise of this in-between time? Jacob's story, in fact, the story of Abraham's whole family and even of the whole Bible, is a story of promise. And today, in his place between places, Jacob meets the God of promise. Jacob dreams that the divine realm is open and flowing with angelic possibility right where he is, right in his nowhere place. And Jacob dreams a divine promise. God is beside him, giving all the usual biblical undertakings, a promised land, a family like the stars, a great nation and a new creation of blessing for all the peoples of the earth, blah, 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 heard it all before, nothing new here. But then God adds a special promise just for Jacob, a threefold promise. I will be with you, I will keep you, protect you wherever you go, and I will bring you home, says God to Jacob. Friends, do you believe in a God of promise? Do these divine promises to Jacob also apply to us? Do you believe that God is with you? Do you believe that God will keep you from harm? Do you believe that God will bring you home? Personally, I've got an easy yes to that first promise, a not so sure to the second one, and what does the third one even mean? That's me. But in Jacob's story, the hardest thing to believe is the first promise, that God chooses to be with him, with Jacob. Because remember, this is Jacob, the corrupt trickster, the treacherous fugitive, the greedy grasping inheritance thief. Jacob is human weakness incarnate, a man without promise. And this is the one to whom the loving divine Spirit opens itself. God chooses to reshape the future by reshaping Jacob. It's hard to believe in a God of promise, especially when the undeserving are elevated and the needy brought low. But perhaps Jesus can help, because he embodies God's promises. He is Emmanuel, God with us in infant vulnerability and adult frailty. He is the one who refuses the temptation of God's protection, saying, "Do not put the Lord your God to the test," then going on to drink the cup of suffering. He is the one who says, "I go to prepare a place for you in God's house, and I will come to bring you to myself there." And where is that? Where is God's house? Is it just some far-off fantasy, pie in the sky when we die? Where is this promised place, our true home to which Christ would bring us? Then Jacob woke from his sleep. "Surely God is in this place," says Jacob. "This is none other than the house of God." And he names that place, that nowhere place, that in-between place, that place of promise and possibility. He names it Beth-el, which means house of God. And here we are, at home in the in-between. Can we embrace the promise of this place, the promise of Christ, God with us, even through suffering, God with us in love for the blessing and renewal of all creation, even through our human frailty? Can we embrace the promise of the in-between, saying with Jacob, "How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven."